First of all, we want to appreciate the people of Uganda for following the Kalangala by-election and the Chikube by-election, where we performed very well, and we are 100% sure that we won those elections. We were only not declared because, as you all know, the Museveni regime's strategy now and official policy, which is ridiculous for lack of a better word, is doing what they have been doing in all these elections. How can you have a government whose only strategy is rigging elections? How? That you have a regime, you go for by-elections, and then you see the kinds of things they did in Kalangala. So I want to salute our candidate, Honorable Eileen Nampala. We call her Honorable because she's a Honorable. We want to salute her. Thank you for being resilient. You made us proud, I must say. Of course, as you know, NUP is a school on its own. Once you join NUP, you have joined the school of leadership. So she has learned the hard way, and you can see that she's very, very hardened. I want to appreciate our team led by Honorable Buwembo Habib. Thank you very much for leading our campaign team there. You did us well. And of course, Madam President, for steering us in every decision and whatever we've been doing. We are currently compiling all the evidence that came from Kalangala, and we shall announce our next step after that. We don't want to dwell on that because you all know what happened there. Some of us survived being assaulted. Other leaders were beaten up, party leaders, for simply trying to say, why are you rigging elections? So that is where we are as a country. Secondly, we want to condemn in the strongest terms possible the ongoing impunity, which has now gone to levels that are unprecedented. The illegal closure of NTV, Daily Monitor, KFM, Dembe, and other NMG media houses. UCC is saying that they did not do that, that, you know, someone just gave orders and the military came and took over these media houses. Friends, ladies and gentlemen, we are going through a very, very tough time as a nation. And all of us must work together to put an end to this mess. As you all know, somebody said that if you do not fight injustice when it is a small plant, when it is a seedling, it becomes harder to fight when it is a tree with branches, with big leaves and all that. And that's what we see now. As I posted yesterday on my socials, there's a time when there was a massive wave of abductions targeting NUP supporters. But some people were laughing at this, saying those are hooligans. Let them be taught a lesson, that they insult people, they do this and that. So some people looked the other way. But right now, these abductions are targeting the most accomplished people in our society. Yesterday we were in court to stand in solidarity with Honorable Miriam Matembe. She's back to court today. A 73-year-old woman is abducted. You know, she was telling us how she was sleeping on the floor, okay, for those 3 days under incommunicado detention. So you can imagine, this is happening to a former minister. This is happening to a person who participated in making the 1995 Constitution. Then, if that can happen to her, how about me and you? How about the ordinary Ugandans in this country? That means that even those who are watching on now, as these violations happen, when you see social media, you see some regime sycophants. You know, the famous saying that a stupid monkey laughs at a burning forest. So how can you see media houses being, you know, closed down, senior citizens being abducted, and you start laughing, saying they deserve it? Tomorrow when they will come for you, there will be nobody left to speak for you. So we must work together to put an end to this. It is Martin Luther King who said that we must learn to live together as brothers and sisters, or perish together as fools. If we do not work together to put an end to this, then, ladies and gentlemen, we are headed for very, very tough times. I want to appreciate the media houses that are here today. who have stood with NMG, because an attack on one media station is an attack on the media generally, and on the freedom of expression, and on the freedom of the press, and on all other freedoms that we cherish as a people. Finally, of course, in that line, we also condemn the continued harassment of Dr. Chiza Besigye. You all know what is happening to his lawyers, Honorable Elias Lukwago. We all know how Honorable Martha Karua was, deported illegally, denied entry into Uganda. And then they come and talk about East African community. Shame. Can we all say shame? Tukyogera tutya mu Luganda ekyo? Muswadde oba muswaleko? Muswadde nnyo. Finally, on the LC elections, ladies and gentlemen, we have right now released our program for LC elections. Some people ask, why do you go into these LC elections after all this madness in elections? We saw what happened in the youth elections. We saw what happened in the election. We've seen what is happening in the by-elections. But as a National Unity Platform, we believe that we must participate. We should participate because it is through participation that the regime continues to expose itself. It is through participation that the regime continues to reveal itself to everybody. Imagine if we had not gone to Kalangala. Maybe the people of Kalangala still had some thoughts that the regime had any decency. But the people of Kalangala now know. So we are going into these elections, LC elections. We are calling upon our people to participate. But also as a party, we all know that the LC structure is a very, very fast structure. So if you want to strengthen a party like NUP, you begin with that structure. So we encourage our leaders everywhere to be part of this exercise, the members of parliament, the mayors, LC5 chairpersons, party leaders. Please make sure that we go mobilize and we win these LC elections. We've always said it here. When they come to abduct our people in those villages, they ask LC1 chairpersons where you stay. When they are taking you away, they first go and engage the defense of the village. So we need to have these structures under the National Unity Platform. We don't expect you young people out there who are watching us to be lining up behind the bus. Like I said the other day, and I think Honorable Mukuvi has talked about it. These are the people who have been chasing you illegally off your working places. These are the people who have been abducting our people. These are the people who are, plundering our country and doing all these things. So it is very, very important that we participate in these LC elections and the Women Council elections. So we want to charge all members of NUP in every district of Uganda to participate. If the regime decides to rig the way they have been rigging, they will be exposing themselves further and giving the people of Uganda more reason to fight and ensure that we redeem our country from this mess.